Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So many of you ask me that, hey Akshat, how we can grow our income stream, how we can earn from 10,000 to 50,000, how we can 5x our income streams. Please tell us more about that. So the short answer is that go and join multi-level marketing schemes. Okay, I'm kidding. Please don't do that. The serious answer is that you need to understand that how is it that rich people think about money, how they think about growing their income, because that is literally the first step of getting rich. If you can't earn more, you can't invest more. If you can't invest more, you can't create more and more assets which give you cash flows. So you need to understand this entire game of how incomes need to be designed. So on this video, I'm going to do a few key things. One, I'm going to pick Robert Kiyosaki's framework of how he thinks about income, because I think that is one of the most comprehensive ways in which direction or what type of income you must aim to achieve. That's one. Second, I'm going to speak from my own personal experiences as to what are some of the key steps and things that you need to do to get that financial freedom and get those income streams going for you. Third and finally, I'm going to answer some FAQs that you usually have that, hey Akshat, why are you on YouTube? So I'm going to reveal that answer today, my real reasons of being on YouTube. So please stay tuned till the end of the video and take notes. This is going to be a very, very important video for you, especially if you are watching this as a teenager or in your 20s or 30s. Please take notes, very important. And if you get any value out of the video, please press the like button. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. It allows this video to be shown to a lot of people who are watching cat videos. They will also get financial knowledge and take their initial steps towards getting financially free. So let's start with the first section, which is that what type of income streams are there. Now you might say that, hey Akshat, you know what, this is like such a silly thing that there are different types of incomes. We don't know. So tell us, what do you mean by different types of income streams? Now, I think Robert Kiyosaki, who is an American entrepreneur, he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it is one of the most celebrated books in the world. So he gave this framework, and I am recapping that framework and simplifying it for you. So this framework is called as ESBI. Now, this has nothing to do with SBI Bank. Again, a poor joke on SBI, but the framework is very important. So let me explain it to you. So he says that there are 4 specific types of incomes. So the first type of income is called as earned income. Now, earned income simply means that you go to office and at the end of the month, you get a paycheck. So what are you doing here? You are just simply exchanging your time for money, right? You're going to office at the end of the month, you're getting a 50,000, 60,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh salary. Whatever that salary number is, what are you doing? You are earning that income. You are essentially exchanging your time for money. That is simply what you're doing. Now, is this a good way of earning money? The answer is yes, because all of us have to start somewhere, and earned income is probably the first step where you need to take to solidify your financial health. So nothing wrong. You should take up high paying jobs, stay with it, learn a lot from it. But is this an inefficient way of earning money? The answer is absolutely yes. And let me explain it to you why, right? Now let's talk very briefly about taxes. Now who do you think pays the most amount of tax in percentage of their salary? Is it big businessmen like Mukesh Ambani, Adani? Is it small businessmen like me? Or do salaries employed pay the most amount of money? Type out your answer in the comment box. I will definitely check it. The short answer is that salaried employees pay the most amount of taxes. And the worst part is, and they would continue to pay the highest amount of taxes as a percentage of their salary forever, right? And let me explain you the rationale also. So you might have heard of something called as TDS, tax deducted at source. So even before you get any money in your bank account, for example, if your salary is 1 lakh, then your TDS is cut even before you are getting any money in your bank account, right? So the company cuts TDS on your behalf, whatever, 10%. So they will take away 10,000, they will give it to the government. You are getting 90,000 in salary. On top of that, you pay income tax. So even before seeing your own money, you are paying taxes to the government. Now you would say that, hey Akshat, you know what? This is like a short-term temporary problem. Probably it will go away in a few years from now. Now here is the problem. Number one, do you ever think that the taxation across the world, I'm not criticizing any particular government, but just generally. Now, do you think that taxation in the world will come down? Tell me honestly, right? Type out your answers and tell me honestly that do you genuinely feel that taxes will come down in the world, just generally speaking? The answer is no. Why? Because if you check the world's debt, right? The world's debt has been going up decade after decade consistently. Every single decade, the world has taken more and more and more debt. Who is taking on this debt? The short answer is that governments are taking more and more of this debt. Now, the government has taken a lot of debt. Now, someone needs to pay this debt, right? So, who pays for this debt and how? So, now if the government has to repay its debt, how is it going to repay its debt? It's going to repay its debt by taxing more and more and more. And therefore, you would see that every decade, tax will increase one way or the other. Now, this brings us to the trivia question that if you're a stock market player like me and if you invest in stocks, now there was a recent change in taxation by the Indian government where retail investors will have to pay more taxes. Which tax am I talking about? That the government has recently changed? Tell me that. Very important question. This will help me understand that you are actually seriously paying attention to my videos, and also press the like button would mean a lot to me. So the bottom line is that the government will keep on levying more and more and more tax because they have more and more and more debt, and whom they can control easily. They can control salaried employees easily. And therefore, salaried employees and earned income sources are going to be paying the highest amount of taxes forever and ever and ever. This brings us to the second quadrant, which Robert Kiyosaki speaks about as small business segment. Now, these would be things like that you're running your own restaurant, you're running your own coffee shop, you're running your own bookstore. Now, from a money point of view, these small businesses tend to generally do well, right? There is no problem. For example, I run multiple small digital businesses and couple of them are raking in more than $1 million a year. Now, the point is that from a money point of view, these small businesses do really well. No problem there. If you have built a successful restaurant or a successful small digital business, you will make money. No problem there. But the problem is that you will not be time rich, right? So there are two components to being rich. One is time rich and one is money rich. So if you're making a lot of money, yes, you're money rich. That is how most top level corporates are. But you might have also observed that they usually do not have time for their children or family or to go to special occasions, all that stuff. So they probably are not time rich. Now, in order to be truly rich, you need to be both time rich and money rich. So these small business people, if you're running your own coffee shop, you can't go on a 15-20 day holiday because your business will literally shut during that time. So it becomes a problem for you if you're running a small business that the money is good, but from a time perspective, but that might not be the most effective income path for you. Now, the third quadrant is called as big business. Now, the difference between big business and small business is that if a big business owner, for example, Mr. Mukesh Ambani or Mr. Radhakrishnan Dhamani, they take a leave. They say that, you know what, enough. I'm going to take like a 20-30 days off. Other people can handle my work. So be it, right? Would their business shut down? No. That business will still go on. They will still continue to probably make money at the same pace, right? I'm not saying that they can be completely hands-off. But the point is that there are enough structures, systems in a big business that allows these big businessmen to modulate their lifestyle and be both time rich and money rich from that perspective. Now, I know that there will be a lot of people who would say that, hey Akshat, you know what, that Ambani works like 25 hours a day or something like that. Okay, he works very hard because he wants to, not because he needs to. So please understand that point as well. Now, fourth and final type of income is called as interest income or passive income. Now, interest income or passive income literally comes from owning assets. Now, for example, Mark Cuban literally invests in different companies. Right? Ashton Kutcher, who is a famous actor, he also invests in a lot of companies. He's actually a very smart investor. Read more about him. You would be surprised the type of smart decisions that he has made in terms of owning great businesses. So the point is that rich people either own big businesses or they own assets that gives them a cash flow or an income stream for which they don't have to necessarily work. So they are both time rich and money rich. Now, how does this framework applies to me? So let me illustrate that through my own story. So I was having a good successful job in management consulting. I was making good amount of money. Now, many of you have asked me on YouTube itself that, hey Akshat, why did you leave your job in management consulting? The answer is very simple, that I wanted to move from which quadrant to which quadrant. I wanted to move from earned income to small business or hopefully big business or interest income. But I wanted to move. I had that clarity that, hey, you know what, this earned income, great, gives me money, but am I time rich? No. Will I ever be time rich? No. Will I have to pay the highest ever taxes forever? Yes, right? So for that reason, I had to make a call that at one stage, I'll have to stop with this earned income game and move to other quadrant. So which brought me to quadrant number 2, which is running small businesses. And I have built and run successful multiple small businesses. Will I continue to do this forever? Will I continue to run small businesses forever? I don't know. These are successful. These are good. I am building teams around it. As our teams grow, we will make these businesses big. Now, I'm not saying that I'll become like Ambani big, right? But the point is that I will grow these small businesses to become big, right? So I'll be moving from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3. Do I do 4? That do I invest in different companies? The answer is yes, that I make investments in different companies also. Why do I make investments in different companies? Because I'm doing what? I'm trying to own assets and create passive sources of income. Because when I make investments in different companies, I provide strategic help for them to grow, and that's that, right? So it's not as if that I'm involved in everyday operations or all my time goes into it. So that becomes like a passive income stream for me. You might say, great, sounds good in theory, bookish knowledge, but great concept, love it. But can this be realistically done? I'm still in college, I'm still thinking and figuring out about my career. How should I go about it? Can you give me like a step-by-step process here? Absolutely. So there are 4 steps involved. Number 1, you need to bring a mindset shift, or you need to change your mindset. Why? Because if you don't even understand that there is something called as earned income, there is something called as small business, big business, and interest income or passive income, you would not even make up your mind in terms of identifying the right jobs for you or creating something on your own. So please keep that in mind, because almost 80-90% people whom I meet who are confused about their career, who want to switch job from job A to job B, their simple consideration is that, hey, my package has increased by 2 lakhs, but the work has also gone up. Should I do it? I have like a young kid. What should I do? How should I develop my life? The problem is that you're just moving in that same quadrant, right? You're just thinking about earned income. You're not thinking about moving from one quadrant to the next. So bringing that mindset shift is going to be the key. If you can't think it, then of course you won't be able to do it. So please keep this in mind and make your career decisions accordingly, or at least start organizing or orienting towards different quadrants that I'm speaking about. Just to clarify this point more, why did I shift from management consulting to small business? The reason was simple, that I wanted to shift my quadrant. Now, if I would have never even built my mindset around shifting my job or shifting that quadrant, I would have never quit management consulting. And guess how many people never quit management consulting or elite jobs? Several of them don't do it, right? Now, I'm not trying to criticize their decisions. It's absolutely fine. Everyone develops their own life and own systems. But I'm just trying to share from my own experience, how did I go about developing my own systems and strategies for becoming financially free. Now, the second step involved is thinking big. Now, there will be a lot of people who will give you a lot of gyan that, you know what, think big, do this, imagine that you're reaching the moons and stars, whatnot. I'll give you a practical approach to thinking big. Now, there are 2 types of big thinkers. First category is called as 0 to 1, and second category is called as 1 to n. Now, this is a system or a framework that I have picked from Peter Thiel's book 0 to 1. Now, 0 to 1 literally means that these people are really good at creating something new. They enjoy the novelty of things. They enjoy creating new items, new pieces of content. They enjoy building systems and processes that literally builds the company from scratch and gets it to a certain point, right? So this is 0 to 1 creative people. Second category of people are folks who take this small company and turn this into a big machine. So this is how I define 0 to 1 and 1 to n, right? So 2 different type of big thinkers, 0 to 1, 1 to n. You need to identify where your skill set lies. In my case, I am a 0 to 1 type of a person. I really enjoy creating new things. I really enjoy the process of thinking something new, experimenting with new things and ideas, building systems and processes to create and incubate something, right? So that is the type of a person I am. I am not the type of a person, if you give me a small company and ask me to make it really big in a short span of time, I can do it. Probably I have the strength to do it, but my natural inclination is towards 0 to 1, not 1 to n. So you need to identify what type of a person you are, because this sets the tone as to how you need to think about your income streams. In my case, I am a 0 to 1 type of a person. So how am I thinking about my income streams? Very simple, right? Rather than having one really big business, which brings me X dollars a year, I'm saying X because I'm not going to reveal my portfolio. I would rather have like, let's say 15, 20, 30 businesses, which brings me a fractional amount, which adds up to this entire X. right? So I hope this point is clear, that because I understand that I'm good at building small units of things, small businesses, I would rather have multiple small businesses rather than owning one really big business. Now, does this mean that I cannot move from small businesses to big businesses ever? No, because I can always hire teams, I can always create teams and systems which can help me move from small business to big business, but building small businesses comes naturally to me. This is something that I'm good at, this is something that I thoroughly enjoy, and this is something that I would do it consistently over and over again. So I should probably make this as my strength. Now you might say that, hey, Akshat, you know what, you understand yourself really well, but how does this apply to me? I don't know what type of a person I am. What should I do? So I have worked with enough entrepreneurs and enough people to tell you that people usually would fall in one of these categories, 0 to 1 or 1 to n. You need to understand yourself well to identify, speak with experts, experiment with different things, truly understand what you enjoy, and then focus on just doing one thing really well, growing it really big, or start experimenting with multiple things and become like me and play the 0 to 1 game. Now the third step is that you need to move in a sequential manner. Now sequential manner means that many of you might be college students who might be listening to this video chat, and you might say that, hey, Akshat, you know what, you have given like so much gyan, but I just want a job and I want to be done with it. You are not wrong, right? You are absolutely right, because you anyways need to move in a sequential manner. In my case, first I got a job in management consulting. Then I built a small business. Then I started owning different businesses. So essentially I moved from quadrant 1 to 4, right? 1, 2 and 4. I have not touched 3 because my small businesses haven't become big yet, but I'm moving from quadrant to quadrant, right? In a sequential manner. So you should also do the same. There is absolutely nothing wrong, because once you are working for a big company, you are in quadrant 1, which is earned income, and you are picking up skills, you are picking up talent, you are picking up knowledge, you are picking up network. All this sets you up for moving into other quadrants like building small businesses, big businesses, identifying businesses in which you can subsequently invest. So the bottom line is that there is nothing wrong in terms of moving in a sequential manner. In fact, that is the way to do it. The problem happens when people get stuck in just one quadrant. That's it, right? That, hey, if I'm picking up a job, I'm a lifer in that job. Nothing wrong with it per se, but if that is something that you're not enjoying, then it means that it's time for you to move from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2, so on and so forth. Another important key point to remember here when you are taking that sequential journey is that try to be in top 5 percentile of anything that you do. For example, if you are a coder, try to be in that top 5 percentile of coders in your company. If you are a management consultant, try to be in that top 5 percentile of management consultants in your company. Why? Because the world rewards excellence. I'm not saying that, hey, go and overwork yourself, but try to be effective, efficient, learn about productivity, expand your horizon. Therefore, I stress so much about learning, that you must learn, because the more you learn, the more knowledge that you gain, the sharper that you will become, and your chances of moving into that top 5 percentile space, whichever space you are choosing, it becomes much higher, right? So I hope this point is clear, which brings me to the final point, that what is the eventual goal of doing all this? So that eventual goal needs to be very clear, and that target needs to be there in front of you all the time. So the target always is to create multiple assets, right? So that is what we are working towards. Now, I'm not saying that an asset should always give you money. An asset could be a medium for you to get out your name in front of people. Which brings us to the question that, hey, why am I on YouTube? So I am on YouTube for the same reason why Bill Gates is also on YouTube. It is because he wants to get his name out. It gives him another forum to interact with people that he wants to interact with. Similarly, YouTube is a medium for me to interact with all of you. You would have seen Bollywood celebrities, lot of other people are on YouTube. It's not as if that people want to make money out of YouTube all the time, but the point is that YouTube is a massive asset. It's a massive asset for me also, and it's a massive asset for Mr. Bill Gates also. It's a good medium if you're good at interacting, communicating with people, to get your words out in a very direct and unfiltered manner. Now this brings us to the second FAQ, which is that, hey, tell me the best job in the world that can pay me the most amount of money. Honestly, I don't know. But again, reflecting on our entire conversation so far, the best job in the world would be where you control a lot of assets. In today's world, there are typically 2 types of assets. One would be physical assets. These would be house or commercial properties or piece of land that you own, or gold or commodities that you own. On the flip side, there would be digital assets. These would be YouTube, blogs, website, podcasts that you own. Now, what am I going to do in the future? I am going to continue to create both physical assets and digital assets, because that allows me to go where? In quadrant 4, right? And that is where even you should aim to move. Why? Because if you get stuck in quadrant 1, you unfortunately will be subsidizing for the debt that our governments are taking, and you would continue to pay that debt forever and ever and ever. So I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Please give it a thumbs up and a like, and I would love to read all your responses. So please do comment in the comment box below.